Okay, good evening. I think we're right on time right now. Welcome to the IVDA. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll and then we'll adjourn to closed session.
Certainly. If you can please state your name for the record. Members from the City of Colton.
Frank Navarro. John Echeverria.
Members from the City of Loma Linda.
Dusty Brigsby.
Phil Duper.
Member from the County of San Bernardino 2nd District.
Armendariz present.
Member from the County of San Bernardino 5th District.
Baca present.
And members from the City of San Bernardino.
Helen Tran.
Juan Figueroa.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, are there any public comments on closed session?
No public comments.
Okay, we will adjourn to closed session then. Okay, welcome back. And we'll look over to our attorney, our subbed-in attorney, Ms. Martin. Is there anything to report out? Okay, thank you very much. We'll now open up our regular session, and I had not preset this up for the pledge. Supervisor?
Sure.
Begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Mike, are there any items to be added or deleted?
No items, sir.
Okay, we'll deal with conflicts of interest if they arise. Moving into informational items G.
So I should probably start off by welcoming Betsy Martin back home again. It's kind of old home week for us over here. And as we told the Finance and Budget Committee, we have really enjoyed working with Betsy over the years, and she has wore many hats for our agencies, including being general counsel for quite a period of time. So she currently also does wear a hat for us on the IVDA side as our successor agency counsel. Not quite as active on that as we once were, but welcome home. I will then move on to a quick update on the Inland Valley Infrastructure Corridor. So as you all saw in my update last week, we did have a community open house meeting here last Thursday evening, and we had both Tom Dodson and Caitlin Dodson Hamilton on the environmental team here, along with our air quality expert, as well as a big piece of the IVDA squad here in attendance. It was live streamed. We had both Spanish and English translation here, court reporters here for those that wanted to provide input at the meeting. And then we also did social media punch outs in advance of that, which you see there. If you go to the next slide, we got one more in here. That's, we had, as Kat has helped confirm, we had about 40 people here. Thank you, Kat. And had some good discussions. It was, like I said, open house format. We allowed for a good amount of Q&A. But public comment is still open at this point in time. We do close that on the 21st of October at this point in time. So just wanted to give you a quick briefing on that, and we'll let you know how things go on that one. And then last but not least, you've got some very small flyers on there. Want to invite all of you and any friends, family, neighbors down to the airport on the 19th for what is now our second annual Cruising at Altitude concert at the domestic terminal. So it is free for all attendees, and would love to see any of you out there. It's set to be a good time. So that concludes our reports.
Okay, thank you very much. We will now move on to the consent calendar.
Baca moves consent calendar. Second.
I have a first by Supervisor Baca and a second by Mayor Navarro.
We have a motion by Member Baca and a second by Member Navarro. Please state your votes for the record. Member Navarro?
Yes.
Member Echevarria?
Yes.
Member Duper?
Yes.
Member Rigsby?
Yes.
Member Baca?
Baca.
Member Almendarez? Member Tran?
Yes.
Member Ibarra?
Yes.
And Member Figueroa.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Moving on to Section I, Board Action Items, number 12.
Yes. Good evening, board members. The item before you is the consideration and adoption of Resolution Number 2024-05 of the IVDA amending its Conflict of Interest Code. The Political Reform Act requires every local government agency to review its Conflict of Interest Code biannually. A Conflict of Interest Code tells public officials, governmental employees, and consultants which financial interests they must disclose on their Statement of Economic Interests, which is their Form 700. As indicated in Appendix A of the proposed resolution in front of you, the position of HR manager has been added since the agency's last review in 2022. The proposed changes to the Conflict of Interest Code reflect the additional position and accurately designate all positions as required by the Political Reform Act. Staff is requesting that the board consider and adopt Resolution 2024-05 of the Inland Valley Development Authority, amending its Conflict of Interest Code, and authorize the submission of the amended Conflict of Interest Code and the 2024 local agency biannual notice to the County of San Bernardino. Thank you, and I'm available for any questions.
Thank you very much. Any questions of the board?
Motion to approve.
Okay, we have a first by Mayor Navarro and a second by Member Ibarra.
Thank you. We have a motion by Member Navarro and a second by Member Ibarra. Please state your votes for the record. Member Navarro.
Yes.
Member Echevarria.
Yes.
Member Duper.
Yes.
Member Rigsby.
Yes.
Member Baca.
Baca.
Member Almendarez.
Almendarez.
Member Tran.
Yes.
Member Ibarra.
Yes.
And Member Figueroa.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Item number 13, Mr. Barrow.
Thank you, Mayor. This item is to approve the amendment number 3 in the amount of $34,689 with Cordova Corporation for professional service for the 3rd Street Corridor roadway rehabilitation project. This additional service are needed to finalize the design phase of this project. Approving amendment number 3 for professional service agreement with Cordova to provide additional service in an additional amount not to exceed $34,689 and authorize the Chief Executive Officer to execute all related documentation. Funding for this amendment and professional service agreement is included in the approved IVDA fiscal year 2024-25 3rd Street and 5th Capital Project Fund, account 63100, roadway construction capital overlay in amount of $250,000, of which $34,689 would be allocated for this amendment number 3 for this professional service agreement. Staff recommends the board approves the above recommended actions, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Any questions from the board? Supervisor Baca makes a motion, and Member Rigsby makes a second.
Thank you. We have a motion by Member Baca and a second by Member Rigsby. Please state your votes for the record. Member Navarro?
Yes.
Member Echevarria?
Yes.
Member Duper?
Yes.
Member Rigsby?
Yes.
Member Baca?
Baca.
Member Almendarez?
Almendarez.
Member Tran?
Yes.
Member Ibarra?
Yes.
And Member Figueroa.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item number 14, Mr. Totillo.
Thank you, Mayor. Some of the processes within this board agenda item were probably familiar to some of you. It's a concept used by most of the cities in the county in San Bernardino. Just quick background, though, on where we got to this point. This BIA Commission back in 2020 passed the Operational Directive 2001, which allowed authorized personnel to enforce airport rules and regulations within the restricted area. This area is kind of what, it's the area, airport's operation area where the planes land and take off. Up to about April of this year, with the growth of the airport, both in passengers, our tenants, and their employees have become a lot more, as well as visitors to the airport. We amended that one to move into the landside NOV program, or Notice of Violation program. This gave us the ability to do the same thing on the landside portion, which is the public side, the terminal, the roads, and the parking lot. We're coming to you today for your consideration and adopt for the IVDA properties, as they're at both ends of the Sabia properties. So it's three components to the landside notification. The first component is what we just talked about. It allows us to enforce the airport rules and regulations. And then also, because as we are defined by the government code as a JPA, the vehicle code allows us to issue notices of parking violation. Those infringements have been occurring, and this will allow us to kind of put a stop to that. The third component of this is using a third-party ticket administrator, in this case, Data Ticket. I think we're all familiar with that. I think most of us use that. That'll do the ticket administration on the backside, all the notifications, the hearing notifications. Should it go to Superior Court, they will ultimately do those. And then subsequently, if fines or fees should be added on to the vehicle's registration, they will handle that part as well. So we're asking you to consider and adopt IVDA 2401. And that completes my presentation, and I'll be available for any questions.
Chairman Duper?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, just a quick comment. Mitch, thank you for that presentation. I think this is great action and probably long overdue because, what happens, San Bernardino Police Department is called to make all these calls. So I think San Bernardino Police Department has much better things they can do, and I think it's great that we're giving our local, airport authority to have the opportunity to write citations, but also have another group that can do it. So, the police department isn't constantly called here just to write citations and do enforcement. So I think it's great action by this board. So I move approval.
Second.
Any other comment?
Thank you, sir.
Got that?
Yes.
Okay.
We have we have a motion by Member Baca and a second by Member Tran. If you can please state your votes for the record. Member Navarro?
Yes.
Member Echevarria?
Yes.
Member Duper?
Yes.
Member Rigsby?
Yes.
Member Baca?
Buckeye.
Member Almendares?
Almendares, aye.
Member Tran?
Yes.
Member Ibarra?
Yes.
And Member Figueroa.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much. Thanks, Mitch.
Can I ask a question, though?
Yes, ma'am.
Why are we sending the tickets to Newport Beach, though?
That's where their data ticket's at. It's where their company is housed.
Okay. That's all. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of cities use them too. Okay. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and thank you for bringing that forward, Mitch and staff. Glad to see that because now we can release the resources for San Bernardino City and use our own resources for our own enforcement. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, moving on to number 15, Mr. Burrows.
So we've got a quarterly update for you on all things economic development. I'll move through a few of these fairly quickly. So the 3rd and 5th Street Corridor project with our partners, City of Highland and San Manuel, is probably 99.99% complete at this point, as close as you can possibly get. All roads are open, all signals are functioning properly, and we've got a new way in and out of the airport, more importantly. So really appreciate the City of Highland team, Carlos and his entire staff for staying the course for us and bringing us home a project that I think we can all be proud of. EDA is extremely pleased with this project, and we may be pursuing an award application on it as well. So pretty cool. Next one, if we could, Sterling Avenue. We've talked a lot about this one. Everything is, again, here, right on the goal line. We are days out from getting the thumbs up from Department of Commerce to put this thing out on the street. And just want to thank Jeff and Miriam and the whole crew for making sure this is truly ready to go. It looks as if it'll also be the first project where we're going to be using a new firm, Planet Bids, to help us with the bid marketing, tracking, and that'll be a good project to get our teeth cut on that. So that is stood up and ready to go. Our EDA staff are through about 70% of the bid docs. Had a couple questions we saw this week, but like I said, any day now. So next one, if we could. The 3rd Street Corridor, not to confuse the corridors here. This plan check is completed with the City of San Bernardino Public Works and moves on to Caltrans for final pre-bid review there. They are checking off right-of-way confirmations right now. And again, this is being administered by our own Caltrans District 8 staff, who have been a pleasure to work with on this. So this one would be trailing Sterling, but hopefully not too far behind. Next one. The EV charging stations, heard a lot about these. You see them outside here. There's one last phase of it, which is down at our office complex at Mill and Tippecanoe. That did go through a subsequent plan check with City of San Bernardino staff. That it is complete, and hopeful to get that installed here close of the calendar year. So that would round out those installations. Next slide. Our friends at Hillwood are permit ready across the street at the Northgate phase, and then working currently on Gateway South down at Orange Show and Lena Road. Those projects continue. Nothing coming out of the ground just yet at Northgate. Hoping for that maybe turn to next year. Next slide. Want to just put this back on the plate here. We have continued to engage with our partners at SBCTA on the potential to move forward with a cooperative agreement to do further analysis of this alternative. They are open to do so, but if it pleases the board, we will take that to the next step. We've not come back to talk about that, so if you have concerns about that, please let us know. Otherwise, we'd look at bringing a co-op agreement back and then going out and getting another consultant on board to do a more detailed analysis design and take into consideration some of the concerns that you all have raised, not forgotten. So next slide here. So I wanted to put this on, just a reminder of all things IVDA, going back to 1996, was designated a foreign trade zone designation, which comes out of the U.S. Foreign Trade Zones Board, a division of the U.S. Department of Commerce. We have maintained that as active and are currently working with the Port of Long Beach and the FTZ board on a new operator, which is on the airport side here, Thunder X, which is in the former commissary building. They have expressed interest, and we have made the request to start the application to get them on board as an operator. As that proceeds, we would then be bringing back a new operating agreement for you all to look at, because as the designee, they would come up under our permit approval through the port, and we want you to authorize that for Thunder at that point. But we just submitted the request this week, so we'll keep you apprised on how that goes. And then I want to bring back our friend Ms. Kim Benson, our UAS administrator, for a very hot off the press update with the UAS Center. Kim?
Thanks very much, Mike. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to give you a brief update on some of our training programs. The first is with respect to our drone training programs. We are just starting to launch a program for youth and expanding into the County of Los Angeles. This is going to be done in conjunction with a program called the Engineer Factory, which is based in South Central LA, with fiscal sponsorship of Community Partners, which is one of the largest nonprofit organizations in Los Angeles. They manage about 180 programs focused on scaling multi-year programs together with government agencies. So we're very well placed to work with that agency and to get that program up and running. It's also important for us because this is our first initiative that will actually deliver a much larger scale program. Here at the airport, we are training usually about 30 people at a time, providing them with certification training as well as hands-on training. This program will be quite different. The entity with which we're cooperating is going to be training about 75 people at a time, and it could even get larger. As far as our superintendent of schools here in San Bernardino, we continue to expand and increase our programs for post-secondary and young adult students. And then for search and rescue, we train the County of San Bernardino Search and Rescue Department, as well as that of Okanagan County in the state of Washington. And next week we'll start with Riverside Search and Rescue as well. And then lastly, our research associate program continues to develop. We've been working with Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University for the past 3 years, placing drone major students with companies around the nation. We are now going to expand that program, replicate it into Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, and my hope is that we'll also start identifying universities here that we can work with as well in that same way. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you very much. Is that it?
That concludes that report. Thank you.
All right, sir. Seeing no questions, let's move on to 16. Really, public action plan.
So this will be even quicker. Just want to highlight, we have our ACE finance guru, Mr. Cousineau, back in the flesh. Welcome back, Mr. Cousineau. And he's been with us this whole time, but in the matrix of our new accounting software system, and rounding the corner quite nicely with that. Not winning any races just yet, but you're looking good. So welcome home. Going into next month, we hope to have some updates on our grant programs, and then also looking at any legislative issues that we need to discuss and get direction on. So that concludes that report. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Seeing no comments or questions, we're going to now move on to the open session public comment. Yes, sir.
Mike, thank you in the economic development report, thank you for including a conversation that we had some time ago regarding a rail connection to the airport. Look forward to continuing to water that little plant right there.
Thank you. And as you SBCTA aficionados know, they don't happen overnight. So the sooner we can progress it, hopefully
we'll keep
see
it
that.
there.
So, yeah, thank you.
Okay, I'm going to call up Tanya Gonzalez.
Hello. Well, I think most of y'all, I've been here for a while, so I'm Tanya. I'm with the San Bernardino Airport Communities. We were here at the open house, so I just wanted to kind of give some comments about it. We talked to community who was able to show up and those who couldn't make it. So a lot of them felt like the notifications to come to the open house it wasn't enough time. Most of them received their notifications either Friday, Saturday, or Monday before the meeting, which is less than a week. And also, since the report came out August 20th, but the open house only happened October 3rd, that's more than a month after the report. So now people have now they have less than a month to give their public comments. But at the same time, a lot of people haven't even heard about this project until they receive the notification for the open house. So we're asking, I believe email with the letter was sent out today for an extension of the public period time. We're asking for 45 days from October 20th because people need more time to learn about the project, learn how it's going to impact their community, and be able to make have good questions for y'all and good comments to give their input on the project because people want to see their communities, be better. Also, a lot of residents that I talked to felt like they didn't receive very concrete answers to their questions, which they had very good questions. There was residents who have been living here for 40 years, and they mentioned their distrust in agencies like the IVDA and the city council because a lot of the time community isn't taken into account when projects come in. So it's understandable why they don't trust politicians, right? So they just felt like if you're having an open house, you should have answers to the questions people already come with, right? Because that's the point of an open house as well. And then lastly, I just wanted to ask if you can explain to me, like if I'm a kindergartner, what's happening on 5th and Sterling, because I'm also getting a lot of calls from community members I talk to, and they're wondering if it's a warehouse or what kind of development is it, because a lot of people didn't know. And I've been looking at the map that was provided in the last packet, but I just can't understand it. So if you could just explain that to me as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, Andre Harris.
Hello, everyone. I've been here before. I'm the property owner of 8125, 8119, and 811 Maryland Street. So it takes up half a block. But my concern that I want to address today is airspace, air quality, and air traffic noise. My understanding is that the planes are not, that's not part of their airspace to go over the residents over there. But since the airport has came into effect and more an increase of the traffic, they're flying over the houses. I'm videotaping it, and I made a complaint because the last time that it happened, they almost crashed into my home because one plane was coming in and cut the other person off. So they're flying too low. We're constantly getting air quality alerts. We wasn't getting that many, but now we're getting a lot of them. I have asthma. I'm an ex-military veteran, so I have health issues. My son has health issues with respiratory. So it's an increase, and the air quality is bad. Constantly alerts. I wanted to ask if we can add for Agenda 14 that under that program, you also add to adopt violation program for enforcement of airport rules and regulation for airspace for our community. Also, this, I feel it's very problematic and it's creating a lot of health hazards and health concerns. So if we can add that to Agenda 14, enforcing the rules, making sure they go around. Some of them go around like they're supposed to, but the majority doesn't. So I have videotaped it. So, and I made a complaint. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to board member comments. All right, seeing none, we are adjourned.